Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first of our 3 information meetings for the next cohort of the Masters in Curriculum Studies cohort program. And the focus in this program is on practitioner inquiry and place-conscious pedagogies, 2 of my professional and personal loves. My name is Leighton Schnellert, and I am the cohort advisor coordinator, and I have the great fortune of leading and teaching in this cohort. The next cohort for this program, and KTY, everyone, stands for Kootenai, because the face-to-face component of the program happens in Nelson, which is in the West Kootenays. But just to point out that the format of this program is a blended program, which means that you come to Nelson for 3 weeks in the summer of learning, and then coursework during the school year is on Saturdays during the school year, so that folks can participate and attend from all over the province. I like to think about it as the most amazing outreach master's program that I know. And I'm joined by Kelvin. Kelvin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelvin. I'm your senior program assistant. So Leighton can answer any questions relating to the actual content of your program, whereas I will handle anything administrative or application related.
Thanks, Kelvin. We're a team. We're like superheroes without the superhero outfits. I will say that this will be the 5th cohort. So we've had between 20 and 24 educators in the cohort for each of the past 4 groups, and they've been just wonderfully incredible folks doing very diverse work, spanning from outdoor learning to inclusion in secondary schools, to social math for social justice, to some other really cool things I can't think of right now, but definitely a fair bit around like multi-age classrooms, multi-grade classrooms, integrating curriculum, inquiry-based learning. The practitioner inquiry part of this really is about what's something you're really passionate about investigating and researching in your practice. And I should mention that this next cohort starts in August 2024. Yay! If you're looking for the exact start date, it's the Tuesday after the long weekend. So I don't have my calendar open, but somebody could probably tell me if it's the 6th maybe, or I think it might be August 6th. Now I'm regretting recording it, Calvin. Good thing I have to put up with all my terrible humor. Oh my goodness. Here we go. So just to give you a feel for the program, there is the way that we've designed it, mostly because folks are living super busy lives. The way we've designed is that I'm one slide ahead, I think. Hold on. No, now I'm 2 slides ahead. There we go. So the design of the program is that we all start together in August 2024 for 3 weeks. And for the first 7 days, for 7 weekdays, you get to hang out with me. I'm the instructor for the first course, along with Métis educator Bonnie Lynn Donovan. And so for that first course, we really explore what is place consciousness, what are all the ways that place is taken up in education, and understanding that they're taken up different ways for different reasons. And then for the second half of the course, already in the very first course, we get you thinking about what might you want to research in your practice? What's something really important to you? I know at least one person on this call already has an idea that they've sent to me, and at least another person in this call can't escape me every time we're together and I say, you're ready. So really, from the very beginning of the program, we wanted to ground you in concepts and pedagogy related to place and learning, but also to empower you to be thinking about what's the contribution you want to make. This program doesn't create a whole bunch of people that do the same thing. This program is like diversity for educators. Come and figure out what you want to investigate. And that's quite unique and quite special about our program. The other thing that I should mention is that there's 2 courses in August, not 1. So the first course is this practitioner inquiry, which is EDCP 585. The second course is actually EDCP 562. So you get me for 7 days, and you get Dr. Lisa Lautzenheiser for 7 days. And so her course comes right after mine. So it's 3 weeks that you're there in Nelson during the day, 8:30, let's just say 8:30 till 4. May as well say that. And if it's a little bit less, isn't that great? There is a lunch break, people. I'm German Canadian farm boy, so my lunch break happens at noon. Lisa puts the break where it fits best with the learning. So 2 styles. And Lisa's course, she likes to call it theory camp. So in Lisa's course, you really do, I give you the theoretical base for different kinds of place and learning, but Lisa's course kind of spans what are different ways to understand curriculum, which is, I can tell you, one of the overarching themes of this program is decolonization, everyone. So just knowing that curriculum studies in this program takes a decolonizing lens. Another way to describe that is critical theory. And so we do challenge notions of education that maybe are about reproducing or factory model approaches. And so it is important to say that you are coming to a program that looks at diverse approaches to education, but also encourages you to think about how can we make change in the system from wherever we are in terms of making what we do more inclusive for everyone, and maybe challenging some of the systemic factors that create limits. So that's the intro, people. So in August 2024, 2 courses. One is on your screen, EDCP 585, and one is not. And that is EDCP 562. I'm the professor for the first course. I'm also your supervisor, everyone. And so that means that I guide you and I support you through the whole program in terms of your research. In the fall, we moved to online, and I'm delighted to share that the instructor is Dr. Joaquin Munoz, who is an Indigenous scholar who takes up Indigenous pedagogies. And so that's a really cool course because you're reading about and learning the foundation of Indigenous ways of knowing and being. Plus, you also engage in what we call field experiences in your local community, where you further get to know your local nation ways of knowing and being. So some of the credits for that course are for doing that field work. You don't need to take any time off from work to do this, but it's about learning and seeking and finding out more so that you yourself can learn about and take up and welcome Indigenous ways of knowing from your local context and nations into your teaching and practice, whatever that looks like. With me so far, everybody? It is 6 Saturdays in the fall. They're not full days because you're doing some of that field work, but just know that a course is 39 hours. That's probably good to write down somewhere, right? A course, it's just because Joaquin's course involves field experiences, some of those hours are the field experiences hours. So like one Saturday, you don't come to class, you go and visit your local nation or find some important resources or learn from a knowledge keeper. All right, with me, that was September. People love those first 3 courses, I have to tell you. This is the 4th cohort that's gone through, and it has worked out to be a gorgeous opening sequence. Get ready for January 2025. Kelvin, I'm always like this, in case you're wondering. This is just who I am. So Kelvin and I are a new team, everybody. The former senior program assistant just retired, so Kelvin has ably taken up Linda's work. So January 2025 is a course called, thanks, Kelvin. It's called Theorizing Pedagogy. It's taught by Dr. Donna Kozak, Caden. And so Donna, this is the very first course where you start to develop your research proposal. So course 4, it looks like 3 on the screen, but course 4 is where you start to develop, where do I fit and where does my research fit? Does that make sense, everybody? And so it's really going back to understanding these different ways of knowing and being and saying, my work fits between this and this, or I'm positioned between and this. Leah, it's perfect for you because you don't sit in one way of knowing and being, but you're trying to connect and integrate ways. And so Donna's course helps you do that. The assignment for that course is you developing what's called the theoretical framework for your study. So you'll leave that course with your draft theoretical framework. It's a very practical program because we scaffold you becoming researchers, everybody. With me so far? Guess how many Saturdays that is, everybody? 6. Good guessing. Yeah, good guessing. I appreciate your guessing. And also there are patterns throughout the program. All right. Then in May 2025, I cannot confirm who that instructor is, but we do shift to Wednesday evenings, everybody. And so we meet every week, Wednesday evenings from the first week of May to the first week of July. If that makes some sense, everybody. The first week of May to the first week of July. And in that course, you develop your draft research proposal. The focus of that course is the research methodology part. But to do that, you have to say, okay, I've got my theoretical framework. What's my research question going to be? And what could be my approach to conducting my inquiry and my practice? I do want to highlight that this program is designed for folks to stay in their practice and research their practice. Does that make sense? You're becoming a practitioner researcher or a teacher researcher within your work. So that is the May 2025 to the beginning of July 2025 course. That is online, everybody, Wednesday nights, 3 hours of class. So fun. Then at the end of July, and I wish I could tell you the exact dates, friends, but the last week of July and first week of August is when you do review of research in curriculum and pedagogy. It says elective there. So if there's something else you really want to take, you could take something else somewhere else instead. But we have set it up so that it's a great course that you might want to take. And that course helps you write what's called your literature review for your research. So in that course, you're like, what research is out there about my topic? What does it say? Who did it? How do they do it? And so it helps you do the next part of your proposal. Can you feel like we're really helping you develop your proposal throughout the program? It's really like, what's your theoretical framework? What's your literature review? What's your research question? That course finishes the first week of August, or it's a 2-week course. In summer, just don't take off the whole summer afterwards, everybody, because what you do is you submit your proposal to me for review and approval, and you submit something called your ethics application to the university, where you say, I need approval to do this inquiry in my context. So you don't have to come together for that, but just know that you'll be working on that, and that you want to try to submit that before the school year starts. I can tell you that 2/3 of the folks in the current cohort made that deadline, and 1/3 took a couple more weeks. And that's okay, because we all have things in our lives that we have to work on. Then during the fall, you go through the process of ethics approval. It takes a while. You do some revisions. And the course that you take is a gorgeous course called Curriculum Change, Planning, and Implementation. And that course has to do more with like leadership and structural things. So it moves us a little bit out of our practice and more into what are we working within, and how do we make change in the system, and how does change happen? It still has a social justice transformation focus. And that course is happening right now for the current cohort. The current instructor is Dr. Terry Taylor. I don't know who will be teaching those courses later on because, of course, workload happens year by year. How many Saturdays, everybody? You know it's 6 Saturdays for that course. I can give you a hint that the final assignment for that course, if you choose it, you can write a paper, or you can design a set of 5 lessons that take up the ideas that have a transformational approach. So you've got some cool options there. I also maybe should highlight that in that course, you take up what's called culturally responsive or culturally sustaining pedagogy within that course. So it's really interesting to kind of look at equity-based approaches and read the key thinkers in that area. By then, you've started your research, everybody. You start your research sometime in the fall, typically November-ish. And then the Living Inquiry course, which I'm about to teach in January with Dr. Donna Kozak, is helping you inquire. It has helped you kind of analyze your data and see what's going on, and maybe see what you aren't seeing to help you have a deeper understanding of what's going on and what you're finding and what you're learning. The May 2026 course, which is an elective, but also a great course if you want to take it, actually helps you write up your research. So how do you go from seeing what you found to spending the time now turning that into what some people would call a thesis? We call it a capping paper in this program, but it is a research write-up that you could, if you're interested in continuing your career at some point to do further graduate work, you will have a research write-up with ethics approval that you can continue and build from. And that course goes May, June, and the first week of July. You submit your final write-up. Boy, this program's going fast. You submit your final write-up approximately July 15th. I'm not looking at my calendar right now, but thereabouts. And then we come together the last week of July to present our research to each other as a cohort for 1 week in Nelson. So summer 1, 3 weeks in Nelson. Summer 2, 2 weeks in Nelson. Summer 3, 1 week in Nelson. It's my responsibility, though. This program is filled with care and I would say joy and love, but also really supporting you to go as far as you can and as deeply as you can in your practice and your research. And so I just want you to know that after you've done your presentation the last week of July, there are likely some revisions that you want to do to your write-up to finalize it, and you want to have that submitted by the end of August. And so the program will be done for pretty much everybody, unless you need an extended timeline in the summer, in August 2026. That, my friends, is an overview of the program. And just on the next slide, so you can see it, are some of the examples of electives that you might want to sub in for something. Also, please know you aren't paying by the course, you're paying by the semester. So you can take as many courses as you want within what you're paying. So if you want to take an extra course that you see that you're really in love with, there's no problem to do that. You can see the top two, 508 and 512, I've actually built in to the program. So you could just take those as your electives, but you are more than welcome. Caden, if you want to do something else that, you're super passionate about, like a math methods course, or Leah, if you want to take something else that's like a critical disability studies course, you could replace a course with that, or you could just take that additionally in terms of what works for you. And as your supervisor, I would approve that and talk that out with you and help you figure out what's the right path for you. I'm going to trade with Kelvin, who might just speak to a couple slides before he has to quote unquote boot out of here. Maybe that wasn't the right word. Kelvin, you want to talk a little bit about admissions?
Of course. So on the screen listed right here are some of the admission requirements for this program. Please do understand that applicants are expected to have already fulfilled this requirement at the point in which they are applying. So this is not something that you can retroactively meet after the application. So firstly, we require a 4-year undergraduate degree. The average marks listed is shown on the screen on the slides right there. Do understand that this GPA average is not a hard cutoff point. Even when an applicant does not meet particular criteria, and this extends beyond just your GPA or your scores. If the admissions committee feel like the rest of your application is strong enough, they might submit a special case rationale to recommend you for admission. On top of that, obviously, we require official field transcripts from all post-secondary institutions, with the exception of UBC. And yeah, next slide.
Oh, sorry, Kelvin. Can I say one thing while we're on this slide?
Of course.
If for some reason you do not meet the GPA requirement, please mention that in your letter. And if you can give us a reason why, I have to write that special case rationale. So if you help me to write that memo, like something tricky was happening in your life, or whatever that might be, that just helps me make the case for you. Please don't feel like if you don't make that cutoff that you shouldn't apply, but please help me make the case for you.
Here's just a transcription key for you to determine whether your 2.67 is equivalent to UBC's, 78%.
They will calculate the average from your last 60 credits, everybody. So your last 60 credits with grades of some kind. So pass fail, they won't look at that for the calculation. They'll go back to your undergrad degree for the last 60 credits in calculation. So when you're figuring this out for yourself, go back to the last 60 credits to make that calculation.
Other things required would be obviously a statement of intent, and also your resume. Obviously, again, as mentioned by Leighton, if your resume does not fully capture 2 years of teaching experience with a strong enough application for everything else, special cases can be admitted.
Sorry, Kelvin, just wanted to add briefly that your 6-word statement of intent really gives us a sense of why this program is a fit for you. So please take the time to say why this program and not another program. It also could really help if you talk about what you might want to inquire into, or if you've already been inquiring in your practice. So Caden, you can talk about the inquiry community you belong to. You can talk about the work you've already done in your practice and how this is the next step for you. But I really encourage you to personalize that. Right? Here's why I'm coming. Here's why it's a fit for me. Here's what I want to explore. Here's why I think it's a fit. And then your resume, because it's a program for educators, talk about the things that you do or include the things that you do, including like, for instance, volunteer things or POD things that you participate in. Just take that opportunity. Thanks.
And lastly, we do need 3 separate references. These, I believe, are so basically you have to submit these to the portal. We cannot accept these references by direct email or by phone. And because a case like this has happened before, where students have wanted to view the reference letters after they've been submitted by their referees, please note that that is not possible. As per university protocol, these are considered, I guess, sensitive information, and we are not at liberty to share it with even the applicants themselves, basically.
Yeah, the referees are confidential, everybody. Just a point here around your reference letters. If possible, it'd be wonderful to have one of your references from an instructor or a professor that you had in university. And Leah, that can be from your B.Ed, right? It doesn't have to be from somebody who gave you like a percentage grade. At least one of those should be. The other ones can be professional references. So a vice principal or a principal or a district helping teacher or a director of instruction, but they can speak to you as an inquirer, right? That you are curious, that you are already working on your practice, that, this is a good fit for you because you have some degree of self-motivation to inquire and explore and learn. If you don't have a prof, just think about a diversity of folks that can talk about your learning. So you probably want to make sure, Leah, you have at least one person who knows your inquiry journey as a professional. So I can think of one vice principal in your life who could probably write a pretty great reference for you, who can speak to what you've done over time and how you've been exploring and learning and drawing on things. That's the kind of letter we want at least one of, to talk about you as a learner. It's not required. It's just recommended, but just try to make sure that you can, the person that we're both thinking of, can speak in a way that talks about you as a learner. Great.
And also, this is in regards to the English language requirement. Please note that applicants from the University of Canada, in which English is not the primary language of instruction, must provide results from an English test, basically within the last 24 months. This is unfortunately something that is non-negotiable.
Great.
And if you press into the link on the screen, you're able to see the various minimum test scores required for various tests. And in the end, for additional admission requirements, students in this program are considered part-time students, and there are certain things that you are not eligible for. So while you're applying, please download the acknowledgement of part-time status form, fill it and sign it, and upload it to the rest of the application. This is very important.
Folks, it means you can't get full-time student loans is what that basically means.
Right. So application procedures, you can apply for this program on grad.ubc.ca/apply/online. Please make sure to select the correct program. And if you have a UBC student number or UBC ID, please kindly enter it into your application as well, or else this might create a lot of confusion for the backend staff. And also to upload all supporting documents as instructed.
Right. Folks, it says July 2024 start because that's the beginning of that semester. So summer semester starts July 2024.
Month. And the application deadline is April 5th, 2024. This is when you have to submit all supporting documents. The application fee for domestic applicants is $114, whereas for international applicants, it's roughly 170 Canadian dollars. Also, the tuition fees are listed on this slide. You pay these fees in 7 individual installments, 3 times, excuse me, 3 times a year. And the university reserves the right to increase fees every year, but the fee due dates are consistent in that there will be January, May, and September. Tuition is charged as per the whole program and not on a per credit basis. The last slide, I believe.
Yeah.
So, student fees are charged to you and they vary from term to term. There is a medical and dental plan, which is currently $338 per year. You are able to opt out of it if you wish to do so, as well as the Compass card charge is previously UPass. And this applies to everyone living in the Greater Vancouver area. And you are only allowed for exemption if you live outside of the area. And TransLink decides which ones considered Vancouver Lower Mainland, unfortunately, not us.
Okay, we're pretty much all outside of the Lower Mainland, so. Leah Goldie sneaking in.
Next slide. So yeah, this is directed to teachers in the Vancouver Lower Mainland that have taken UBC students in their classrooms as student teachers. If this applies to you, you can contact the TEO office at teacher.ed.ubc.ca. And next slide. Yes, finally, this is me, your senior program assistant. If you have any additional questions regarding the application process after this info session, please feel free to send us an email at pdce.educ.ubc.ca. The reason why we recommend applicants and students to send it to that inbox, and that our personal staff inbox is in the event that one of us are away. Other staff within the office would be able to answer your questions as well.
Thank you, Kelvin. I know you have to jump to another session, but I'll stick around to see if people have other questions. Also fabulous people who just snuck in right now.
Of course. Well, have a great rest of the day, everyone.